On this episode of Eat, Sleep, Drive, the time to buy is now on this sure to be a classic, fun to drive Honda. Welcome everyone to a new series on my channel where every month I feature a new car that I think is an investment car. Now, investment car might come off as a weird term, but that's just what I'm calling it. Now, first and foremost, there are better ways to make money. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. This is for enthusiasts that want to buy a car, have some fun driving it, and then not lose their ass in the end. That's specifically who this is for. So please don't misconstrue this as this is the best way to make money, because it is most certainly not. Now, certainly we could start off this series with obvious cars such as a Ford GT, an NSX, a Mark IV Supra. These are cars that the ship has already sailed. They are already on the up and up as far as cost, and they are way not attainable for an average Joe such as myself. I want this series to be about cars that everyone can attain and still get that investment sensation in the sense of you buy a car, you get to drive it and enjoy it, and then when you're done, you're not going to lose money in the end. So this is for cars that have not already become collectible cars. So the investment car on my radar is at the bottom of what I think is its depreciation curve, and that is the Honda S2000. Now, why am I picking a Honda S2000? Well, I think it has collectible characteristics. Collectible cars have to be something that capture a certain sensation and something that can't be duplicated now going forward. So first and foremost, they don't make the S2000 anymore. That's a good start. Second of all, with technology advancing, we start talking about electric cars and things of that nature. It's going to be harder and harder to get a very simple two-seat car with a very high revving gasoline engine and a very slick gearbox, no traction control. These are things that are going away. So I think the S2000 is very unique in its segment, and this is why I think it's going to become collectible. So an S2000 to me is an investment car, but you also need to know a couple things specifically on which one you should buy. The car that you want to buy, in my opinion, is an AP1. That is the first generation of the S2000. And the AP1 had the 9,000 RPM 2-liter engine. The AP2, which was the later car, had a 2.2 liter. They stroked it out and it only revved to 8,000 something. Now, you might say, certainly I would even say the AP2 is still a fun car, but the AP1 really embodies the spirit of the S2000. That 9,000 RPM breadline is so crucial to what that car represents that I think it's the most important part, and which is why you should buy an AP1. Additionally, an AP1 in itself is a good decision, but you're going to want to look at maybe a unique color scheme if you want to maximize your investment. Now, you're going to pay a little bit more up front depending on who you buy the car from. But I'm going to put up a sheet now that shows you, this is great. This is a resource that was put up by someone on the S2000 forum. They did all the legwork and somehow figured out all these production numbers. But this is super crucial because in the best collectible cars, you're going to want the rarest car. Maybe not the rarest car, but a desirable rare car. So one of those examples is a white exterior with a red interior. Now, you can look at the sheet and come up with your own, but that looks like a pretty desirable car to me. And I've seen them for sale. Like I said, you're going to get charged a little more up front because some people know what they're worth or that they are a little more rare, but not everyone. So let's move on to the next point. You know which car you want to buy, but where are you going to find it? Now, you can certainly go to a resource such as the S2000 forums. The S2000 forums are great, but the problem is people there, and when I say the problem for you as a buyer, the problem is people there know what these cars are worth, or in general, they do a little bit more. If you're going to try and find a deal, or if you want to find that great deal, you're probably going to have to find it on something like Craigslist or AutoTrader, where Hopefully you find someone who's taking good care of the car, but they might not know the extent of the rarity of their specific car. That's where you're going to get the best deal, in my opinion. Now that you know you should buy an AP1, there are a couple things that you're going to want to look for in an AP1. Now, first and foremost, you're going to want to buy something that's original. So certainly a clean title is something that you're going to want. Something that's no accident. All the VINs match on all the exterior panels. This is relatively easy to find. I shouldn't say easy, but this is very attainable. Now, the harder thing to find is a car that's all original in the sense of it hasn't been modified. Doesn't have an exhaust, doesn't have an intake. Now, those are things that you can undo, and maybe you find someone who has the stock parts that they've taken off. That's not, to me, as big of a deal as first the title being clean, and then second, there's no accidents on the car. Certainly lower miles is preferred, but I wouldn't be too worried about buying a higher mileage car. I don't think it will be as much of a collector, but I still don't think you're going to lose money. And you're certainly going to pay more upfront for a lower mileage car. Now, if you watch my channel, you might be saying, all right, why are you telling me to invest in S2000? Because I know that you, meaning me, I owned an S2000 and sold it. Now, great point.
Yeah, it doesn't break away progressively, but because of that, it's that much more rewarding when you get it just right. Bit of counter steer. It's so fun though.
But you have to keep in mind that I put a priority over experiencing new cars as opposed to making money. My S2000 for me ended up being a good investment, albeit it was a short-term investment. I only had it for about a year, but I certainly didn't lose any money on that car. Now, I bought what I'm recommending to you. It was a very clean AP1, and it was pretty close to stock. It had a few mods, but it was pretty close to stock. And that car also had a hardtop, which if you can find that, that is even more rare. A hardtop is a good thing to tack onto that list of rare things to have for that car because they don't make them anymore. And those are, even in the S2000 community, are becoming very, very desirable. So yes, I sold my S2000. I'm not keeping it. But if I had the space, I certainly would have, because I really do think that these things are going to hold on to their value and appreciate going forward. I just decided that I would rather move on to a different car. So I want to just experience different cars. And that's kind of how I operate, as you've probably seen in my channel, because I tend to go through cars a lot. All right, so I think we've covered all the bases with the S2000. We've talked about which one you should buy, the AP1. We've talked about what you should look for in that car, being all original and things of that nature, and also where you should buy it. Like I said, you can find them on the forums, but you're gonna find your best deals on Craigslist. These are like barn finds if you can find a good one. So let me know in the comments below what you think, if you think I'm crazy or if you think the S2000 is a collectible car. If you enjoyed the video, tune in next month when I feature a new car on Investment Car of the Month.